the first Secretary of Defense of the United States of America, fell out of a 16th floor window at Bethesda Naval Hospital in the middle of the night, with a bathrobe cord knotted tightly around his neck. One day he was scheduled to be discharged, while his brother had a train ticket to come take him home. The Navy never called it suicide, and he classified the full report for 55 years. This is where it gets heavy. James Vincent Forrestal wasn't a fringe figure. He wasn't a whistleblower nobody heard of. He was the architect of America's modern defense establishment, the man who created the Department of Defense itself, Secretary of the Navy during World War II, the first man to hold the title Secretary of Defense. Eisenhower said he was the only man who counseled caution and alertness while dealing with the Soviets. Paul Neitz, one of the most respected national security figures of the 20th century, said Forrestal was the only Secretary of Defense who possessed all three qualities of greatness at once. And in 1949, James Forrestal was dead, at 57 years old, on the 16th floor of a hospital, in a room where the bars had been removed from the pantry window before he ever arrived. Let's start with what Forrestal actually believed, because that's what got him killed, or if you prefer, destroyed. It was strategy. He argued inside the Truman administration, repeatedly in writing, that American Palestine policy was being directed by domestic political pressure, rather than national security. He warned that recognizing Israel without establishing Palestine's rights and borders would destabilize the entire Middle East and push Arab nations toward the Soviet Union. His own diary, available in full in the Princeton Library, records him writing that American Palestine policy had been made for, quote, squalid political purposes. He said no question was more charged with danger to our security. He was a national security hawk making a national security argument. He wasn't wrong, but he was in the way. A smear campaign started almost immediately. Two of the most prominent columnists in America, Drew Pearson and Walter Winchell, began a coordinated campaign against Forrestal in print and on television. Pearson told his own protege, Jack Anderson, that Forrestal was, quote, the most dangerous man in America. He said if Forrestal was not removed from office, he would, quote, cause another world war. Anderson later admitted that Pearson had, quote, hectored Forrestal with innuendos and false accusations. Winchell, an ardent public supporter of the Zionist cause, had previously been aligned with Forrestal on anti-communism. The moment Forrestal's position on Israel became public, Winchell turned on him completely. The Secretary of the Air Force and the Attorney General were simultaneously feeding stories to Pearson, specifically claiming that Forrestal complained of being followed by Jews or Zionist agents. Forrestal accused the Attorney General of having the FBI shadow him. His diaries were confiscated immediately after his death. When they were published in 1951, they had been censored. The unredacted originals remain at Princeton. Early 1949, Forrestal was publicly destroyed. Truman forced his resignation on March 28, 1949. Days later, Forrestal arrived at Bethesda Naval Hospital, not to the standard first floor VIP suite, to a room on the 16th floor. Access to him was severely restricted. His brother Henry couldn't get in to see him. His priest, Monsignor Maurice Sheehy, a naval chaplain and close friend, was denied access. The press reported Forrestal had been found wandering the streets in his underwear screaming the Russians are coming. That story was fabricated. Drew Pearson made it up. His own doctor denied it happened. Here's what the records actually show of the weeks before his death. By May, Forrestal was improving. His psychiatrist George Raines wrote on May 18th that Forrestal was, quote, somewhat better than on the corresponding day of the preceding week, and that at no time did Forrestal make a suicidal gesture or attempt. When Harry Forrestal finally got to see his brother, he said James was, quote, acting and talking as sanely and intelligently as any naval officer I've ever known. He made train reservations. He was coming to take his brother home on May 22nd.